Hello everyone and welcome to our Saturday live show. Today I'm really excited because I've got two announcements that I need to make, and the first one is the DIVI update, which I'm really excited about, and we're also going to talk about the Astra theme and Gutenberg and how that can be used together. I've been playing around with it throughout the week, and I've noticed that instead of having a layout that is restrictive, you can actually have a brilliant layout when it comes to setting it all up. But I'm not sure if this is going to be the case moving forward with Gutenberg, so we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, I thought I'll just share with you how that works. And also, we will be discussing a Photoshop. I mean, what is it important for you to have Photoshop skills in this world of web design? Okay, I mean, I will leave that for the show. So pretty much these are the three main things that we'll be talking about. And of course, throughout the show, you can ask me any questions web related, and I will do my best to answer those questions. So all you gotta do is to leave your comments in the comments box, either on YouTube or on Facebook. Also, I'd like to mention that if you're just joining us, if you haven't been on these shows before, this is a show where we talk about WordPress and how to design awesome looking websites. If you want to learn how to design websites using WordPress, I have a free course which I will link to in the show notes below, so you can go ahead and register for that course absolutely free. And also, if you want to go into learning how to design websites using DIVI, I also have a DIVI course. All that information is in the show notes below. Okay, so I can see now that already quite a lot of you have started joining me. I'd like to give a few shout outs. Right now we have Alan Lima saying hi, Mac. We also have Toronto Hotspots saying good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate it. Tetiana from Ukraine. Awesome. We also have Crafts PK saying welcome. Yes, welcome to the show. Very happy to have you here. Okay, I'm also going to check what's happening here on Facebook. Okay, we don't have any questions so far on Facebook, but it's all good. All right, so as I mentioned, we have an update which is really interesting, right? This is one of those features that I really loved, and I was really waiting for, because when it comes to section dividers, there were like a lot of tweaks that you had to do using CSS, and to be honest, I'm not really a fan of CSS and all that tweaking, because for some reason at the back of my head, I'm always thinking that, well, that code could break anytime or something could go wrong, and you know, and things don't just look the way you want them. But if there's a way which was well thought of, which actually works fantastic, this obviously is the way that DIVI has done, and they've just released an update which is really awesome. So let me show you how that works. But to show you this, I'd like to just also go through the pre-made layouts which were also released. I wasn't able to talk about it last Saturday, but I can just briefly cover those in this show. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, you can see I'm on my WordPress website, which is running DIVI. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my dashboard like that, and then we're going to come over here to pages and click on add new. So what I'm going to do here is to add a new page called, we can call this anything, but I'll just say dividers. Okay, like that. Then I'm going to click on use the DIVI builder. And then over here, this is where we can load our layout. So I'm going to click here to load the layout. And then over here is where we have the layout. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and choose the coffee shop, and I can go ahead and use this layout by clicking this button right here. But you notice that we also have pages here which you can actually load if you wanted to. So let's say you want to create a blog page. So that's a blog page. You also get to see the preview. Now this is a landing page, and that's the home page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the landing page and load it up. So I'm going to click on use this layout. Now, because this is being downloaded from the Elegant Themes servers, it may take a bit of time for this to download onto my computer. And also the fact that I'm broadcasting live, this may also affect my download speed. So we're just going to give it some time, and now it's loaded. So as you can see, it's now loaded. So all I got to do now is to click on publish. Right, so now it's published. I can go now into my visual builder and we can take a look at that page. And there you have it. So this is the page that was loaded. So in a few minutes, what we're going to do is we are going to go in and add all our section dividers, because that's really, really cool. I was playing around with it yesterday, and to be honest, there are endless possibilities that you can come up with when it comes to the section dividers. Okay, so let me just check if I have any questions here. Crafts PK says, I watch your videos on YouTube. Nice work. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. Yes, if you haven't subscribed yet to my YouTube channel, I would say please do go ahead and subscribe. I release videos regularly on WordPress and Divi, and also some plugins and also some reviews. So go ahead and sign up, and make sure you click the bell notification, because by doing that, you'll be notified every time I release a video and every time I go live. So go ahead and do that. Oh, we have Victor here from Italy. Thank you very much for tuning in, Victor. Nice to see you. Awesome. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to switch over here to my website, and I'll show you briefly how these dividers work. So if you want to add a divider to your section, all you got to do is to come over here to this gear icon like that. And then you want to click on design. And then you can see here there's an entry called dividers. So this is where you can get to choose which divider you want. So first of all, by default, it's set to top. You can actually add it to the bottom by clicking here. So at the moment, you can see here there's none, so there's nothing is happening there. But we can, if you click this, you can see here now that we have all these dividers that we can play around with. So let's start with the first one. So you can see straight away that that divider now has taken shape, and you can choose different types like that. You can change the height by doing that. So you can see here there are quite a few options that you can play around with. We also have this one right here, which is pretty much like a wave, and you can increase the divider height, like I said, by doing that. And you can also do a horizontal repeat. So now we have more of those. So these are really, really cool. Now over here, you can also flip this if you wanted to, like that. So let's go ahead and let me show you some more. We also have this one right here, but I can reduce the height by clicking that, and also the repeat can be reduced, so we can just have something like that. Okay, so that's looking pretty cool. So as you can see, you know, there's so many options that you can play around with here to bring some style onto your dividers. Okay, so there's more. So you can see here, there's that one as well. And if you'd like to use the ones with which would be more stylish, you can see. Also have that. Now, here's the thing. So as you can see here, these dividers are not working very well with this background image here. So what you may want to do is to make sure you select the right section that you want to work on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back here and click on none. And then I'm just going to close this. Okay, I'm just going to save this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this section right here. So I'm going to come over here to my gear icon, click on design, and then I'm going to come on dividers again. But this time I'm going to set it to top. So if I do that, you can now see that it's applied to the top of this divider. And if I change my styles again, you can see here that all these are being applied. Okay, now here's the thing. Now these dividers here, you can also change the divider arrangement, so you can have it underneath the section content, or you can have it on top of the section content. So this is also one cool thing that you could do with these dividers. Okay, so for my design right now, I would like to have my divider right here on the bottom. So I'm just going to save this for now. So I'm going to come here and add my divider onto this one right here. So I'm going to click on section settings, design, dividers, and then I'm going to add my divider. In fact, let me go with, let's try this one. Okay. So I think I really like that one. So as you can see, this divider also takes on the color of what is happening here. So this is the color that the divider takes on, which is really, really cool. Now, as you're designing this, so you can see here that this background image here is not really working well with our design here, because it's now showing a line that's going across. So that's not what you may want. So ideally, to make these dividers work correctly, or not to work correctly, to make it look really nice, you've got to have a section which has a solid color, okay? Because if you have this image like this, you're going to have this consistent line going across. So let me show you how that would work on a section which doesn't have an image. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and close this, and then I'm going to go to my main page. Okay, so this is my main page. So as you can see, we have this part here, this section, and then on the bottom here, it's clear. And then over here, again, it's the same thing. So let's go ahead and play around with this. I'm going to click on Enable Visual Builder. Right, I'm just going to check if there's questions. Okay, no questions so far, so let's continue. Oh, wow. Over here we have Ali Bashi saying, hi Mac, all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Wow, that is awesome. Thank you very much for tuning in. So really, really appreciate it. Okay, so let's continue here. I'm gonna go to my website right here, and I'm going to come to this section. So I'm going to click on my gear icon again, click on design, dividers, and I'm going to have this on the bottom. So here now I'm going to choose these different types. So as you can see, as soon as I've added that, that looks much, much better, because here the separation between these two sections makes it really look nice. So you can see this is the difference that I was telling you about. Now we can actually go in and add a color to this section and it will still work. Okay, so let's try and do that. In fact, that's too bright. Okay, anyway, let's try it and see how that works. I'm going to come over here to my section settings, design. Okay, so you can see now that as I'm adding my divider here, oops, I'm selecting the wrong one. It's this one that I need. Design, dividers, so over here you can see that we can now set a divider color. So if I select that, look at how beautiful that looks. Okay, so you can come in and match your colors to make sure that your divider actually really looks nice. So you can see here that this is much better. So let's do that one more time. Let's change the color. I'm going to choose maybe, let's say this color right here. So the most important thing here is to make sure you copy this color and use it for the section below it. So I'm going to come over here, click on design. No, in fact, I need to go to the background, change my background color. I'm going to paste my color in here now, like that. And you can see now it's seamless. Okay, that's really cool. So that's how these dividers work. So if you have any questions about this, you can just add them onto the comments box and I'll do my best to answer those. In fact, here I have Victor saying, I like the new divider style of Divi. You can use it without Photoshop or PNG images. Great update. I agree with you 100% because before you had to go into Photoshop and do some PNG images and then add them on. Now, by doing that, you're adding more and more stress to your website, because the more images that you have, it just takes a toll on the site loading. So this is a very good idea to have these section dividers. And also these section dividers are SVG files, which means when you scale them, they don't lose quality. So this is one of those things which is very important as well, which is great. Alan Lima says, I've been following all the updates and they're incredible. When will we have more options to customize the header and menu? Right, the header and menu customizations, that's going to be an update that'll be coming soon. I can't really tell you the date, but these are things that behind the scenes we are working on, and as soon as they're released, you'll be the first to know. So just make sure that you're signed up onto the YouTube channel and you have that bell notification clicked so that you get all these notifications. There are a lot of things coming up behind the scenes which we're working on, and it's going to be really exciting. I mean, Divi is going to be, in fact, right now, I believe it's the best builder out there, and this is going to be even much better with all these updates coming up. Okay, Tatiana says, awesome update. Yeah, thank you very much. We also have Kraft saying, nice work, my brother, no question. Okay, cool. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Gutenberg. I'll show you something that you may find quite interesting. Right. So I have a site here which I was working on last week when I spoke about Gutenberg. This is a new builder which WordPress is working on, and everyone will have to change to that eventually. Now, this editor here is going to replace what is known as TinyMCE. TinyMCE is the current editor that we have at the moment. So I'm just going to go in and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to click on... In fact, I need to go to my page. So I'm going to come over here to Pages, All Pages. Right, so let's edit this. Okay, so this is the new way of editing stuff on your website. As you can see, it's much simpler, it's plain. I really went into detail last week. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at that, I go into detail comparing the two, and also the inspiration are where I think WordPress got this from. But the bottom line is, this is the way forward, and this is how websites are going to be designed moving forward. Now, I know for a fact, Elegant Themes, behind the scenes, they're working on making sure that this works with Divi. So as you can see here, there is no option to go into the Divi builder. Okay, so we are working on how this is going to integrate very well. So if I click on View Page, you can see that we have very little flexibility when it comes to how this page looks. So right now we can't even have this image edge to edge. You know, it's pretty much restricted onto a very short space. So the theme that I've been using, which I use in conjunction with the Divi builder, is a theme called Astra. Now this theme is designed for page builders. It's fantastic. You know, it comes with a lot of options and additions, which I think if you haven't tried, go ahead and try it. In fact, I may even do a mini course on Astra, because I believe that this theme is really, really good and it works very well with your page builder. So now let me show you how this works. So if I come over here to my dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and install that page builder. So I'm going to come over here to themes. I'm going to click on add new. So all you got to do is to search for Astra like that. Right, so this is the theme. I'm going to click on install. And by the way, this theme is lightweight, so it is fantastic. I'm going to click activate. Right, so now my theme is activated. In fact, let me just visit my site in a new tab like that. Okay, so straight away you can see that things have changed already. It's looking much cleaner, but let's go ahead and make some changes to this. So I'm going to come back over here to my pages, click on all pages, and then we're going to do an edit. Right, so what I need to do now is to go into my settings of my theme, and I'll show you how you can have this even stretching across. So if I come over here to themes and click on customize, I can now come into this theme and adjust my layout. So I can come over here and say main container, or maybe even site layout. I can change my width to make it bigger, even to say 1240. I can also come here to my container. Now at the moment it's set to boxed, so I can change this to full width stretched if I wanted to. Right, so you can see now everything is now edge to edge. So if I hit publish and then come over here and select my page, which I was working on, click view page, you can now see that it's all edge to edge. So with this now, I can actually go in and edit the page and make further customizations. So over here in my customizations, I can actually go into my pages here and even make it full width stretched if I wanted to. The blog posts, I can have it boxed. I can have it contained as well if I wanted to, but I'll just keep this as boxed and I'll just leave this as default. Okay, so now I'm going to click on publish. Okay, just going to see if this is going to publish. It's taking a while. Okay, I think that's published. So now if we take a look at our page, I'm just going to refresh this. Let's do a quick preview. Now you can see that our page is going edge to edge. Now these are those stages where you'd like to add a page builder to really customize this, because you can see now, although we're going to edge, we still need to get rid of this sidebar. So let me just take a look here and see if there's options to do that. Right, so I can see here that option is not there. Oh, in fact, it's here. Look, if I come over here to extended settings, sidebar, customize the setting, I can say no sidebar like that. Okay, and then I'm going to click update. Okay, it's still updating. Okay, so now if I refresh the page, now we have this image going edge to edge. Now, this will be quite difficult if you didn't have the possibility of making these changes. So now I know you're looking at this thinking, wow, that edge to edge looks really nasty, doesn't really look nice. You can also come here to your content layout, click on customize a setting, and then you could say full width contained. I'm going to click update, and definitely this is going to look much, much better. So I'm going to come over here again and refresh the page, and then you can see the contained version. So there we go. Now I can have my image stretching edge to edge. So let's say I want to add columns. So as I start adding my columns here, I'm just going to click add block, and I'm going to go to blocks. Where is it? Layouts. Okay, there we go. Text columns. So if I add some text in here, some text in that, bring it up, and then perhaps maybe even add a video. So I'm going to come over here to my blocks. Let me find my video. There we go. That's my video. So I'm just going to go over to YouTube now and grab my URL. And let's see. Okay, I'm just going to find my URL here. Right. Just bear with me as I go to my YouTube channel. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab any video here from YouTube, just to save time. Okay, I'm going to paste my URL in here like that, use URL, and then I'm going to click on update. Right, so let's view the page. The video is still not showing. So these are those things which still need to be fixed when it comes to this new Gutenberg editor. So as you can see, it's not as flexible as Divi. We can't do a lot in this design, but at least with the Astra theme, you can actually lay out your page and make it look much better, because with the default WordPress theme, you're restricted. You can't even remove the sidebar. You can't even do any adjustments to the width. So it's quite difficult. But with this, it is much, much better, because you can have edge to edge. You can actually have this going all the way full width. So this gives you the ability to customize your website a bit better. So if you were going to use, let's say, WordPress without a builder, I would recommend this theme, or even using a builder, because as I mentioned earlier on, I use Astra with a builder. So I use Divi for that. So this is a very, very good theme, but I know that at the moment, this is early days. We are not sure what WordPress is going to come up with in terms of updates to this Gutenberg, but I can tell you for sure that this is no way near the advanced Divi builder or any other page builders out there. This is very, very immature. You can't even do a lot in this builder. So we're really looking forward to seeing the integration between Divi and the new editor Gutenberg. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, so I'm just going to check here if you have any more questions. Toronto Hotspot says mini course on Astra will be appreciated. Yes, definitely. I am going to work on that, and you'll be the first to know once I release that mini course. ZLK Music says Mac deserves so much credit for the monumental work he's doing. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. Thank you very much, ZLK Music. I really appreciate that. I mean, I have a passion for design, and I really like, sharing my knowledge with you. So that is why I put so much effort, and I'm really excited every time when I come to the show and you guys are live, and I know I'm not speaking to myself. So this makes my passion even more exciting, because I know I'm speaking to real people over there. So it's really, really exciting. And thank you very much for the comment. Really appreciate that. Tatiana says, what about versions for a mobile and tablet responsive design in the frame of Gutenberg? Right now, it is responsive, but not as good. So I can understand why it's not really there yet, because it's not the full Gutenberg editor. I mean, this is going to be published fully in April, May, around about that time. So by then, I'm sure they'll have ironed out all these problems that the editor has. I mean, as I've shown you, you can't even do line height, something as basic as that. So there is still a lot of improvements that need to be made to Gutenberg. So right now, it's not something that I would recommend that you use on a website that is in production. So I would really, really stay away from using this. I'm just showing you this so that you can see what the future looks like. So it's going to be way, way different, to be honest. Tatiana says Divi is much more suitable. I agree with you 100%. Divi is much, much better. I mean, you can see all these things that I'm displaying right now. I mean, these are things that you normally do in Photoshop. So Divi has really taken that step to make designing of websites really, really exciting. So I'm really looking forward to that integration, and I will also have a course that will help you integrate into the new Gutenberg and also the Divi, because things are going to be definitely different moving forward. This is not the way it's going to be moving forward, because by default, as you can see, you cannot select the Divi builder by default. So we are working behind the scenes to integrate those two and make them work well together. Tatiana says you're the best, Max. Real diplomat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, let's take a look here and see if we have any more questions. Okay, there's no questions here on Facebook. Okay, so the other thing I was going to talk about is Photoshop. Do you need to learn Photoshop as a designer? So that's the question that I'll be covering. Now, that's a tricky one because right now you can see in Divi that we have filters, we have these section dividers, which we've just talked about. We have drop shadows. We also have, there's a lot of things that we can do now. We can even customize our images, make them look black and white with the filters. We have blending modes. These are things that when I started my career in web design are things that I would do in Photoshop first and then bring them into WordPress. So right now I'm really torn because I cannot say for sure 100% that you don't need any Photoshop skills, because there are basic things that you may want to do in Photoshop, like, for example, resizing your images. And this is what a lot of people, I've noticed a lot of people don't do that. So people would go to, let's say, the royalty-free website. So let me go to a website here and I'll show you quickly what I mean by that. So I'm going to go to unsplash.com. And you see these images that we have here. These images are high resolution images. So let's say I go with this one right here. I'm going to click on it. And then I'm going to click on download free. Okay. So now that's downloaded onto my computer. I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at that image. And then we can look at the dimensions. Okay. So here it is. This is the image that I've just downloaded. If I do a Command I and take a look at the size of this image, you would notice that, first of all, It's about 3 meg. And where are the dimensions? Look, the dimensions are 6,714 by 377. That's a massive, massive image. Now, what I've noticed a lot of designers do is they go in and use this image straight away into their website. That's a wrong way of doing it, because you don't need that image to be that big, right? I mean, for maybe print purposes, yes, but for the web, it needs to be resized. Now, the size of our browser, really, I mean, the most you can go to is about 1920. I mean, that's like HD. And that's the width of the site. So that image there was 6,000. So you can imagine, you know, we only need about a third of that width. So how do you resize that? So this is where now Photoshop comes in. So Photoshop, you go in there and you resize that image and optimize it. Because if you use it the same way, you're not doing any justice to your website, because it's going to load really, really slow, because that size, that image size is massive. So let me show you quickly how I would resize that image. So let's go back to that folder. Okay. So how I'll do it is I'll just right click and open with Photoshop. Okay. So right now we are on 25% of this image. So what I'll do if I wanted to use this on my website is just to save it. So I'm just going to save. I'm going to save it as, oh, in fact, it's right here. Okay. So right now on the bottom here, you can see my width is 6,714. I'm going to change that to 1920 by 1080. So you can see now that the size has been reduced. Now what I can also do here, in fact, now that's the size. Right, I'm just going to reduce. What you can also do here is to reduce the quality, because right now there is a sweet spot about 80 where it reduces the file size but without actually reducing the quality of the image. So this is where optimization comes in. And so once that's resized now it's 1920 by 1080, I can now go ahead and hit save and save it on my folder, anywhere on my computer. Now this is the final image that I would use. So you can see that there's a difference. Someone that uses that image at 6,000 by 3,000 pixels and someone that uses the reduced size. In fact, the 1920 by 1080, that's just an example. You can actually resize your image to make it fit whatever you're designing. So that makes your website very optimal. So based on that, I wouldn't write off Photoshop yet, okay? Because these are things that you need to do which are very, very, very important, okay? And also, I am working on a course, a short course for Photoshop for designers, okay? So that's again in progress. I will be updating you soon as that course is almost done. Okay, let's check here if we have any questions. Okay, Crafts PK is saying visit my website and tell me how I can improve. Sure, we can do that on the show. In fact, that's one of those things which I was planning to have every Saturday, where you can send your website and then I can do a quick review. So that's really good. We can do that on this show. So let me just take a look here and see if there's any questions. Henny says, maybe by the time Gutenberg is the standard, there will be a plugin so you can use TinyMC editor again. Yes, that's a very good point, actually. If there's that option where you can go back to TinyMC and then just continue using DIVI, that would be awesome. I would definitely do that, because this Gutenberg editor does not give me much for me to work with. So yes, I agree. If that plugin is there, that will be the way forward if the integration between Divi and Gutenberg can't be done. So definitely we will use that plugin. Okay, Victor here says, yeah, Victor asks a very important question here. Now I have Divi installed. Okay, now I've installed the Divi theme with the Divi builder included. What happens if I change the theme, for example, Astra? The builder will remain, or I need to install it separately for the new theme? Very good point. Very good question, actually. Now, Divi has, there's two options you can use Divi. The Divi builder and also the Divi builder plugin, okay? So if you want to use Astra and Divi, you would have to install the Astra the theme and Divi builder plugin, okay? Because if you just replace your normal Divi theme, that wouldn't solve the problem. You'd have to install the Astra theme and the Divi builder plugin. So that's how that would work, okay? Very good question, by the way. Okay, so let's do a quick review of this website. Oh. Right, it's taking long to load. Okay, brilliant. Oh, wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I'll say overall, this is a very good website. I really like it. Now, there's a few things that you can actually do here to improve it. So right away, you can see here stylish and traditional furniture. This text is not really it's not like easy to read when you go to the website. So I would either dim these images that you have on the slider to make the text stand out. So that's one of those things that I know it's a minor thing, but it also adds to the design, okay? What I may also do here is to use, because I can see here you're just using your colors that come with the theme. What I would actually do is I would choose a color palette that I work with to really make this look really branded, okay? So what I mean by that is if you have, say, colors that you're using throughout and a specific font that you're using throughout, that would make things easier. Now, the other thing that I can pick out straight away is you can see here the text that you use for furniture is different to the text that you use here, okay? And also here on the navigation and also on the top. So I would say stick to one font. Okay, if you choose Helvetica or even this one, this looks like it's Open Sans, I think. If you choose that, choose one font, use that specific font, but use different font weights. So in some circumstances, use it as bold, and then in some circumstances, use it as semi-bold, maybe for the subheadings, and then use it as normal for your text. So that's what I would do. And also here, you have a line that is separating this. To be honest, I don't think there's a need for separation because these two sections are both white. So why not just leave it? And also, you've got this block here which has a drop shadow. I would actually not have that drop shadow and just have this as my title. So this blends in actually quite well. Our product categories, and then you can have this or without this divider line and this drop shadow here. That would work really, really nice. Okay, and also these buttons, maybe it's just me, but to be honest, I would just have a solid button without the border and make it more prominent. Okay, so based on the colors that you use, you can actually make that color maybe even brighter from that back color. So that's what I would do. But overall, you've done a very good job here putting this together. It really looks nice. But these things that I'm mentioning are just, like a few tweaks that that you can do. But just to add that little, extra bit of design. So as I'm looking here as well, I'm going down. I can see you have used a lot of these drop shadows, and to be honest, have some of these sections as solid colors. The color that you would use here is a color from, let's say, your color palette. And now, just a quick question here. Do you use a color palette for your website? I just want to know. If you can just respond in the comments box, that would be great. Yes, the question is, do you use a color palette for your website? Okay, I'm just waiting for the response there. We have quite a bit of a delay. Okay, so while we're waiting for that answer, I'm going to come over here and take a look at some of these pages. I really like this, these icons here. This is awesome, right? Where we have living room, bedroom, kitchen, home office, and traditional swings. This is brilliant. I really like this mega menu. Right, so I'm going to come over here to coffee chair. Let me take a look. Okay, we don't have the product yet. I think maybe that's still under... Okay, looks like we don't have products on some of these. Okay. Okay, so looks like we don't have products on a lot of these categories. Right, the other thing that I would say that you may want to do here is to make this image really big, okay? Because by making it big, it just gives that viewer that's coming to your website something to really look at. I'm looking at this furniture. It really looks nice, and it would look nice, even better, if these images were like really massive and covering most of the screen. As an example here, I'm just going to go to a website which has products. So I'm just going to go to the normal one that a lot of designers go. Let's go to apple.com. So you can see here with a product-based website, the images really sell. So you can see here, majority of what we're seeing here is the image. Let's go here to this Mac Pro. Right, again, this image is what's really covering, the page. Now, let's go to Beats headphones. So what I'm doing here is just to try and find a website which has products, so you can see what I mean. There we go. Actually, this is a very good example. So you can see here the product is actually covering the page. So that's what draws your visitor in. So I would say go to your images and really go into them, even more. Like maybe even choose one of these, and maybe that could be like your main image that's really covering majority of that hero image area. And then on the bottom here, we have all the specific ones. So I would have one massive image here that's really covering everything, similar to what we have here on Beats Beats by Dre. So we have a massive image there, and then we can now have all the other products on the bottom as you have here. So like this image here is fantastic. Have this massive image with your great title, and I can see here you've done a bit of work to really separate your text from the background. That is brilliant, okay? So have this as a massive image, even going down a bit more, covering maybe more of this page and then have your products on the bottom. So that's what I would do straight away, to be honest. Let me see if you've responded to the question that I asked about the colors. Right. Oh, Monique, welcome to the show. I've just seen you just joining us. Thank you very much, Monique, for tuning in. Crafts PK not use. No. Okay. So Crafts PK does not use a color palette. A color palette is very, very important because, in fact, let me come over here and show you where you can get your color palette from. Right. So the website is called coolers.co. Please make a note of this website. I use this website myself. So here you can generate colors. So I'm just going to help you with this and show you how I generate my colors. So if I come over here to my profile, you can see here WordPress user TV. That's the color palette that I use. Okay. And just to show you that, I'm going to come over here and go to my website, WP user TV. And you can see now that my colors here. Okay, let's view this. Okay, so you can see these are the colors that I use. All right. And just to see, if I come over here to my course library, you can see here that my button is actually this color right here. Okay. So it's important to use a color palette as you're designing your website. Now, how do you generate colors? So if you come over here to this button called Generate, you can use the space bar, and this starts going through all the colors that work well together. Okay, so you can either keep going or you can explore, and then you can actually search. Where is that search bar? I've searched for this before. Let's take a look. Okay, here we go. So here you can actually search and say furniture, and let's see what comes up. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of browns coming up there. There we go. So we have a color palette here called Furniture 2. So you could actually use that if you wanted to, or even this one right here. I know it's called Ugly Furniture, but I think this would work. So if I click on View, so if you used these colors, and by the way, you can go in and tweak these if you wanted to. So if I come over here, click Adjust, I can actually make this lighter like that. So this could now work as my color that I use if I need to text on a dark background. So even over here, you can even make this a bit darker like that. But you can see now that if you use this throughout your website, where is your website? Here, and have that dark color here on the bottom here, and then have, in fact, let me put these side by side so I can see. So what you do, replace all your dark areas with, oh, this is mine. Is it? Yes. Okay. So replace all your dark colors with this color right here. Okay, so that's what I would do. I would replace this with this dark color. And then the text inside, I can replace that with this color right here. Okay, and then finally, the button color could be this color right here. Okay, so that's how you would have this section. Now let me see if I can quickly mock this up in Photoshop for you so you can see what it looks, and then we can compare and you can tell me if it looks better. So right now I'm just going to check and see if there's questions as we are going through this. Oh, we also have John just joining us. Hey John, thanks for tuning in, really appreciate it. Right, so I'm helping out Craft PK here. I'm taking a look at his website and just giving him some ideas on how he can improve it. And so I'm going to come over here and okay, this is my color palette. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and improve this part here in Photoshop. And then you can tell me if this is working or not. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of this part of the website like that. In fact, I'm just going to grab this and then open it in Photoshop. Okay, so now that I've taken that screenshot, I am going to open this in Photoshop. Right, just bear with me as I right. I've got too many tabs open here. Right, so let me just show you what I'm doing. So all I'm going to do here is to take a screenshot of this part of the website and then add some color to it in Photoshop. So I'm going to come over here to my Finder, screenshot. Okay, so that's the screenshot. I'm going to open this in Photoshop now, like that. That's strange. Why is it not showing? Okay, I'm going to close all this. Okay, let's try this one more time. That is strange. Okay. Wow, is this a problem with Photoshop? In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to exit Photoshop and then open it again, because I've never seen this this error before. Okay, now Photoshop is gone. I'm just going to open it again and see how that works. There we go. Okay, so now we have this in Photoshop. So I'm just going to increase the size like that. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to just redesign one of these and see how that looks, and then you can compare and tell me which one, if there's an improvement in this. So I'm just doing this on the fly, and to be honest, I just been caught by surprise. I wasn't planning to do this, so just bear with me as I go through this this design. So I have that. So the next thing I'm going to need here is my color palette. Okay, so this is our color palette. Again, I am just going to drag these colors onto my Photoshop document. Open up Photoshop. Then I'm going to drag this onto the top like that so I can have it handy. Right, so finally, I am going to need the text, which is this, like that. So I'm good to go. I can go now into Photoshop and start designing this. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do here is to work on this first one right here. So as I mentioned, I'm going to change the colors. So I'm just going to grab this image right here. Okay, so I have this image. Okay, brilliant. Now I am going to start adding my colors. So I'm going to start off by adding this bit here like that. But that's not the color we need because we are going to use the color from our color palette. Okay, so I'm going to choose my color like that. Click OK. So that's great. And my image here, I'm going to drag it to the top. And then I'm just going to zoom in and just make sure that this image is touching all the corners. Okay, brilliant. Now it's time to add the text. In fact, let me just increase the size a little bit for this. Okay, right, so now I am going to add the text. So I'm just going to paste my text like that. In fact, that's way too big. I'm just going to choose Helvetica, just the basic font. Regular, like that, and then reduce my size and my line height. I know I'm really working fast on this, but trust me, this is quite straightforward. Right, so that's my text right here. I'm going to drag it into position like that. Now, you know, I mentioned that you need to use one font and different font weights. So let's reduce this to about, say, 20, like that. Right, so that's looking much better. Okay, so now if I go into furniture like that, I can then come over here and make it bold because this is the title, you see. I can even make it slightly bigger as well. So let's make this 22. Like that. Okay, so already I'm liking the way things are going here. Now let's add our button. So next over here, I'm just going to choose my rectangle tool. I'm going to drag it like that. We're going to change the color and use the color from our color palette. So we can choose either this one or that one. So it's up to you. Both of them actually work. I'm going to go ahead now and click on OK. And then finally, I am going to add my my title, which says Shop Now. So I'm just going to type it, Shop Now, like that. And then I am going to drag this into position like that. I can reduce this to about, say, 20. Like that. Okay. Now you can see here my font needs to have the same color as the color from our palette. So I'm going to come over here and choose the color from our palette. Click OK. Right. Okay, so I think I'm done now with my example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a white background so we can see and compare the two. Okay, I'm just going to grab this line right here at the top and get rid of it. Right. Oh. Okay. Right. So this is what I've quickly come up with. So I'd like to hear what you think, you, the audience, what you think about that now in terms of using branded colors as we're designing. So what we're looking at here is these two. Okay, just take a look at these two and let me know if you think that that's with the branding colors, if that looks better. And again, as you know, design is subjective, so you may not be a fan of this, I get it, but I just want to hear your honest opinion if you think this is helping or if this looks much better. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here and take a look at the comments. Right, Crafts PK says, what is your idea about section background color? Okay, I'll answer that in a bit. Holistic teaching. Right, Atif, I can't really say exactly what size the image needs to be because it also depends on the width of your website. So if your website is say 1200, so that means that your 1/3 image needs to have a width of say about 320. That would work really well. And then the height obviously depends what height you want to use. So about 320, and for the 2/3 one, it could be a 640. So that's what I would do, basing it on the width of 1200. So that's how you'd need to look at it. Okay. Mert says, Mac, do you want to think to make a video about WooCommerce with Divi, like how to change icon shapes and labels? Yes, that's a video that I would like to do. To be honest, Divi and WooCommerce. I know I've done a video, I think it's over a 1.5 years old now, but things have changed. So definitely that's something I would like to do. So keep an eye on that. I'll definitely put that together. Here, Tatiana says, looks cool. You are a master of, I think, Photoshop. Unique says, Monique says, better. Henny says, looks much better, brilliant. Atif says, thank you for your reply, awesome. Mert is from Turkey. Awesome, thank you very much for tuning in from Turkey. Awesome, awesome. Right, oh wow, we've been broadcasting for over an hour now. This, I think, is the longest live that I've done so far. But let's go back to our design here and let me just show you quickly what this needs to look like when it comes to design. And this is the importance of understanding the fundamentals of design. You see, these little things, I mean, as you can see here, in fact, let me go into my Photoshop document so I can show you. We haven't made a massive, massive change. It's just very subtle, okay? But already you can see that this has, I mean, it's looking much better. I'm not saying this because I'm the one who just made the change, but I'm looking at it more from a designer's point of view. Now that we have color, definitely that has more consistency. If you look at the text that's been used here, okay, this text is not from the same font family with this one right here. And also, manufacturer and exporter of handicraft, it needs to be a text which is much stronger, something that you can read much easier. So that's why I would make some contrast between the text on the background and the text on the foreground. Now, quickly, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an image just to help you with the hero section of your website. Okay, so again, I am going to, in fact, let me create a brand new document. File, new. So just for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use 1920 by, let's say, 2400. Okay, this is just for demo purposes. Of course, you know, the size of your website could be different. Now, I'm not sure if you use your own images or you've taken pictures of your images. Now, obviously, right now, I don't have access to those images. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a royalty-free image from the internet and then use that and show it. So let me see. I'm going to try Pixabay. Oops. Right, so I'm here on Pixabay. I'm just going to look for a sofa. Okay, let's go with this one here because I don't want to waste a lot of time putting this together. Okay, is it downloading? Okay. Download. Okay, so my image now is downloaded. I'm going to show it in the Finder and open it with Photoshop. Okay, so now I have my image right here. I'm just going to drag it over here to my document. So I would use a very large image like this as my hero image. Now let me take a look at your website and see what message you have on there. Take a look. I'm just going to close all this now. Okay, I'm just going to find Rosewood Handicrafts. Okay. Stylish traditional furniture. Okay, let's use that. Stylish traditional furniture. Okay, so now stylish, traditional furniture. Okay, so I'm going to make this nice and big. Okay, here we go. Traditional stylish furniture. I'm going to make this nice and big like that. Right. So you can see here things are a bit tricky. How do we make that text stand out on a background which really looks nice like that? So there are several ways you can do this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a gradient shadow on the bottom here. So let's go ahead and do that. So I am going to add a new layer. Right, it looks like my mouse has been is stuck now, which is quite annoying because so that's the problem with oh no. Right, looks like I'm stuck. I can't select anything else. Strange. Yeah, it looks like I can't select anything else. Okay, so what you would do, perhaps maybe I can just demonstrate. What you need to do is to add a gradient which goes from dark to transparent. Okay, and then over here you would go in and change the text color, but obviously I can't do it here. But you can see here that when you start building your website and you have that, let me see if I can drag that design I did over here. Right, looks like my Photoshop is crashed. I can't do anything now on my Photoshop. But anyway, I hope you get the idea. All you got to do is just to make sure that the image that you want to have as your hero image is covering most of the page, as I've shown you here on the Beats website. So take some inspiration from these websites. There's a reason why they are designed this way. It means that it's a proven strategy and it works. So this is the idea that you need to go with. This is your main image, as you can see. Okay, and here there's that shadow that blends into this image. and then you have this text in white. So pretty much this is what you'd need to do on your hero image to make this text easier to read, and then you can just add your buttons based on your colors that you have from your color palette. Okay, and then over here you can see it's nice and clean. This is how you want to have it. So if you take a look here at my Photoshop document, same thing, you know, we're trying to keep this area here clean. The idea with design is communication. You need to communicate your message very, very well. So you want that when people come to your website, they look at your product and it's easy for them to read what the product is about, and the call to actions are nice and clear. So this is what you may want to do moving forward. So go ahead, choose a color palette, use nice beautiful images as your hero images, and have your title nice and bold so that when visitors come to your website they can read it much easier. Okay, let's take a look if there's any more questions now. By the way, if you have any questions, please just drop them in the comments box below, and I will do my best to respond to those questions. We also Crafts PK is from Pakistan. Nice, cool. I think I've covered quite a lot on how to make that website look great. So next time, hopefully, you can add your friends forever says I can't understand. I'm not sure what you can't understand, so please be more specific on that. Okay, so I think I've covered quite a lot in today's live show. Really looking forward to next Saturday. So tune in at 12 o'clock GMT. I'm not sure what time that will be where you are, but that's the time I'm aiming to broadcast. So 12 o'clock GMT Saturday. I may even add a live show during the week. I'm not sure when that will be, but I'm really enjoying these live shows, and I really like interacting with you while I'm on the live show. So this is really, really cool. Vines for you says say my name. Okay, Vines for you. I'm saying it. Crafts PK, your mega menu actually is fine. The only thing you can do is to add a background color, and then just a dark background, and then just add a light foreground for the text. Okay, so that's all you got to do. But overall, I would say your site really looks nice. You've done a very good job, but there are those few things that you need to add and make them work. ZLK Music says, do you live in Greenwich? No, I'm in England, so that's my time zone, England. Tatiana says, thanks a lot for your work. Appreciate it, Tatiana. Thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate that. Crafts PK says, what's your WhatsApp number? Now, to be honest, I prefer not to communicate via WhatsApp or my mobile phone. I prefer to have everything right there on the internet because this benefits everyone. It helps everyone. So like today, I've covered quite a bit on how to choose your colors. So as you can see, the rest of the audience, I'm sure they have learned a lot from that as well, because maybe this is something that they may not have been using. So I prefer it having that way. One-on-one communications, to be honest, you know, it's just too much on me. So if you want to learn anything or you want to ask any questions, just do it on the live show, or you can contact me via my website in the comments so we can share all this with everybody else. Monique says, palette information extremely beneficial. Awesome. Thank you very much. As I mentioned in the last Saturday, I am putting a course together. This may take a bit of time. I know I keep talking about these courses, but this course is called Web Design Formula. This is pretty much everything that you need to know, covering design, SEO, photography, and and all that good stuff, typography, all those elements that make a good website. So keep an eye on that. And this will be coming soon. Friends Forever says motor. I'm not sure what motor means. So, okay. Looks like we don't have any more questions. So we are going to round this up now. We've been live for about 1 hour, 22 minutes, which is really cool. I would like to say to everyone that has joined today, thank you very much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate you taking your time out with me on this Saturday afternoon here in the UK, by the way. Next week, I'll be here again at 12 o'clock GMT. So do join me and we can discuss more things WordPress and web design related. Make sure you have a long list of questions so I can answer those on the show. Ian says, awesome work. Please keep it going as it helps us so much to keep up with new developments. Awesome. Yes, Ian, I will do my best to keep coming up because so far consistently every time I've come on live, there's been an audience. So I'd like to say thank you very much. It'll be a different story if I came on live and there was no one there that I'm really speaking to. So yeah, it's really awesome. Tatiana says, all the best to you. Awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. All right. So I'd like to say to everyone, have a great weekend and we'll see you next Saturday. Take care.